Hi, my name is Stephanie Scheetz with Kodomo. Did you know that Kodomo in Japanese is actually the happy expression on a child's face when they're at play? Well, you're going to have a happy expression too after doing this project. I love making books, but most of all, I like to make books using unusual material. I came across the coolest material from Kodomo. I'm using the spruce wood art sheet. It comes in a 4x6 size and has a nice smooth finish. I'm going to need two for my project, one for the front cover and one for the back cover. I need to cut 1 1/4 inches in from one of my long sides and cut. The width of my ruler is actually 1 1/4 inches wide, so I'll be able to position it on my wood sheet and cut. I like to do a series of strokes to get through the surface. I'll refer to the narrow piece as my book spine and the larger piece as my book cover. The book spine will need to be trimmed just a little bit more to allow for the hinge. I'm going to measure in about 1/4 inch from one of the long sides and again cut with a series of strokes. Well, you know what? I don't like to waste anything, so this little scrap of wood I'm going to hold on to and use later on when I embellish my book. The cover will be decorated using a piece of scrapbooking paper from Kodomo. This is called Autumn Pagoda, and it's a gorgeous 12-inch by 12-inch paper. I trimmed my paper into 6 4-inch by 6-inch pieces. The inside of my book, I need to select a couple pieces that are very detailed. So let's see, these two down here look really nice. I'm going to go ahead and pull those off. The outside of my book, I'll be stamping on my paper. So I need to select something that's a little bit more open and airy and less detailed. I think these look perfect for that. I'm going to pull those aside for now. The last two pieces that are remaining, I'm going to use those in a card later on. Before I begin stamping my paper, I need to tear it down into smaller pieces. Notice when I tear my paper, I can create what's called a white river. I'm going to do that again for the ends. And I can control how the white river looks just by how I lift my hand as I tear. With the papers torn down, I'm ready to start stamping. I'm going to be using Kodomo's Autumn Pagoda stamp for this. If the image looks familiar, that's because it was from the same designer as the paper, Japanese artist Zigen. Kodomo commissioned Zigen several years ago to do a series of papers for them, and you know what? Those papers were so popular that they invited Zigen to come back and do a series of stamps. This has a beautiful color top, and it's mounted on a nice thick acrylic base. Ink up the stamp, and I'm going to start stamping it on the paper I just tore. Notice this blank area. I'm going to press on there, and there you have it. Notice how it fills in that blank area nicely. Now I'm ready to attach it to the cover of my book. Turn the piece over and apply a nice layer of glue stick to it. Press it firmly. The ends are going to be folded inward. Notice how easy that is? Well, I have one paper down. I have one other piece of torn paper to attach. I'm going to apply a layer of glue stick to the back and position it just below my stamped piece. Press to it here. Look how lovely that white river shows up on my collage work. Turn the piece over, fold the ends to the back, and there you have it, the start of your collage. Well, I have a string here that has a trinket on it. I'm going to attach the end of my string to the back of my wood using a piece of tape. Place it down firmly, and I'm going to wrap this around. Now what's nice is because it's a spruce wood sheet, it's very firm. It makes it easy to wrap string around it and hold it in place. The other end will be attached down as well, and there you have it. Well, remember that little piece of wood I trimmed off earlier? I think now's the time I'm going to add it to my cover. The wood will be attached using some regular glue stick on the back. Position it about a little bit in from the edge and press to secure. Doesn't the cover look great? Well, my spine is going to be covered with a paper as well. I'm going to be using washi tape. It's made from Japanese washi paper. It has a repositionable back that is fabulous because if I place it on my surface and it buckles up or I don't like where it's positioned, I can easily lift it and reposition it, like so. Another nice feature about the tape is it tears easily, just like that. I have a little bit more to fill in. I'm going to go ahead and position it, line it up, and press. Now notice I can still see the grain through the tape, and where the tape overlaps, it's slightly darker. You can get some beautiful effects with this tape. I'm going to tear the other end now. The ends will be folded inward toward the back. So there I have my completed spine and my completed cover. Now's the time to combine the two and attach them. I'm applying a double-sided adhesive to each piece, and I'm positioning that adhesive near the gap where my hinge will be. To make sure my front cover lines up with my back cover, I'm going to take my pieces and position them on the back cover. I want to line up the corners and make sure that the two pieces are about the same size as my back cover. Earlier I trimmed down a piece of my Zigen paper into a 1" by 6" size. This is going to serve as my paper hinge. I'm going to place this over that gap and press it into that adhesive. Make sure it's nice and secure. So when I turn my cover over, there I have a workable cover that can open and close. The front looks fabulous, but my back isn't as pretty as my front. So I think I'm going to use some of that Zigen paper that I trimmed down earlier. Put a nice layer of glue stick on the back. So I'm going to place my paper on the back and press to adhere it. And remember, there's a lot of strings and stuff going on in the back, so it's very textural, so it's important to press firmly. With my covers complete, I'm ready to start working on my pages. I cut 6 4" by 6" pieces of paper. And I want to do some stamping, but I only want to isolate it to this part of my paper because I want to leave the rest of it open for journaling or photos. Take a piece of copy paper and tear it. You want to have a nice rough edge. Cover a good portion of your paper with that and expose maybe a ½ inch or so. Ink up your stamp and press it in that exposed area. And there it is. When I remove my mask, you get a beautifully decorated edge. Well, I have 1 page down and I did 5 pages earlier. Everything needs to be attached together temporarily with a clamp. A heavy-duty hole punch is needed to punch a couple holes through all those layers. Measure 1" in from one side and punch your hole. Measure another inch in from the other side and punch your hole. And that's it. I love to bind my books using brads, and that way I can always undo the brads and add more pages later on. It's a great way of binding books. With the brads in place, now it's safe to remove my clamp. Take your washi tape and tear about a little over 1 inch strip from it. Place it on the edge of your paper and press to adhere. The other half of the tape will be placed to the back, and you just want to pinch it so it's nice and flat. And there you have it, a tab. Well, I'm going to place a couple more tabs down and a few more embellishments, and then I'm going to show you the finished project. Isn't this beautiful? I added my letters using an alphabet sticker sheet. The cover is beautiful, organic. It just feels so nice in my hands. Look at that lovely grain. And this is handmade by Mother Nature. You can't go wrong. Well, the inside of my book is perfect for holding many photos or journaling or any other special memories I want to keep. You know what? I had so much fun doing this project, I just could not stop. So I have a few other fun ideas to share with you right now. Remember that paper I trimmed off and said I'm going to create a card with later? Well, here it is. I took the piece of paper and placed some sliced spruce wood sheets underneath it. And here's one where I stamped my spruce wood sheet, cut it up, and then reattached the pieces using a string. I call it the picket fence effect. And here's a gorgeous card made by a dear friend of mine, Hisako Nakamura. She stamped the image several times, cut it out, and then repositioned it using foam tape. It gives you a beautiful dimensional look. I love it. Well, I had a wonderful time today, and I hope you have a big smile on your face like I do. Thank you for joining me today. Hope to see you again soon.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.